It was late evening in one of the tallest glass towers downtown. The lobby glowed with golden chandeliers, and people in expensive suits walked past without even noticing the woman in the corner. Her name was Angela, a black cleaning lady. Every night she scrubbed floors, polished tables, and emptied trash bins while others ignored her. She carried herself with quiet dignity, even when no one cared to look her way. That night, a white millionaire named Richard stormed into the lobby. He was dressed in a tailored navy suit, talking loudly on his phone about stock deals and mergers. His confidence filled the room, but when he noticed Angela mopping near the elevator, his tone changed. "Do you have to do that here? You're making the place look cheap," Richard scoffed, waving his hand dismissively. Angela paused, her face calm but her eyes reflecting quiet hurt. "I'm just doing my job, sir. The building has to be ready for tomorrow," Richard chuckled under his breath. "A job like that? I guess some people are just meant to stay invisible." He walked past her without another word. The word stung, but Angela didn't reply. She had endured this kind of treatment before. She lowered her eyes, gripped her mop tighter, and carried on. Hours later, when the tower had grown silent, Richard was still in his office on the 42nd floor. He was celebrating a big business victory with a glass of whiskey. Pacing back and forth, papers were scattered across his desk, his laughter echoing in the empty space. But then something unexpected happened. A small spark flickered from the corner of the office. The building's old wiring, combined with overheated equipment, had caught fire. Within minutes, smoke began to spread. Richard coughed, dropping his glass, his eyes widening in panic. He rushed to the door, but the hallway was already filling with smoke. His phone slipped from his hand as he tried dialing for help. Fear replaced the arrogance he had worn all day. Downstairs, Angela had just finished her shift. She gathered her supplies, ready to head home. When she smelled the faint scent of burning, she looked up and saw smoke drifting from the top floors. Without hesitation, she grabbed the emergency radio and shouted, "Fire on the 42nd floor! Someone's still up there." The guards hesitated. The sprinklers hadn't gone off yet, and the alarms were delayed. Angela didn't wait for permission. She knew every stairwell, every back door of that building, and she knew there was no time to waste. She raced up the stairwell, her legs burning, heart pounding. Floor after floor, the smoke grew heavier, but she kept going, thinking of the man she had seen earlier, the same man who had mocked her. Finally, on the 42nd floor, she found him. Richard was slumped near his office door, coughing violently, his suit covered in ash. He looked up in disbelief. "You? What are you doing here?" Angela didn't stop to answer. She pulled him to his feet, supporting his weight on her shoulder. "Come on, you'll die if you stay here." They stumbled down the stairs together, smoke chasing them at every step. Richard's legs wobbled, his breath ragged, but Angela's determination never wavered. She guided him step by step, until at last, they reached the ground floor where firefighters were rushing in. Richard collapsed onto the pavement outside, gasping for air. He looked at Angela, her face streaked with sweat and soot, her uniform still damp from cleaning. You saved my life," he whispered, still stunned. Angela caught her breath, her voice steady. "Life is precious, even when people don't always see your worth." Her words cut deeper than any insult ever could. Richard lowered his eyes, shame washing over him. For the first time in years, he realized how small his arrogance had been compared to the courage standing before him. The next day, headlines filled the news. Millionaire rescued by cleaning. Lady during office. Fire. Cameras crowded the building entrance as reporters asked questions. Richard stood beside Angela, not as her superior, but as a man humbled by truth. In front of the flashing lights, Richard cleared his throat. "Last night, this woman saved my life. She risked everything when I had dismissed her as nothing. I was wrong. She deserves more respect than I ever gave her." Angela, uncomfortable with the attention, simply smiled softly. "I was just doing what anyone with a heart should do." But Richard shook his head. "No, you did more. You reminded me that dignity isn't about wealth or status. It's about courage, kindness, and humanity." From that day forward, Richard's attitude changed. He not only treated Angela with respect, but he also started a new program in his company, one that provided scholarships and opportunities for workers often overlooked, like janitors, cleaners, and support staff. Angela never sought the spotlight. but her quiet bravery left an impact far greater than she imagined. Elabi. In the end, the story of a black cleaning lady and a white millionaire wasn't about power, wealth, or titles. It was about humanity. Richard learned that the people he once mocked had strength he could never buy. And Angela proved that kindness, even in the face of cruelty, holds the power to transform hearts. Elabi. Moral of the story: hate divides, but kindness heals. We are all equal as human beings.